Hi, so my name's Paul Roberts. I'm a photojournalist and documentary photographer. I'm probably most well known for my sports photography. I grew up being a sports fan. I was a goalkeeper for a number of teams in the UK. No big teams, no one famous, nothing like that, but local football. And that kind of generated my love for sport. And then my other love was photography, but at the time I didn't really see how the two could combine. So when I started a photography degree, in the second year, I actually started getting into sports photography via one single module. And I just ran with that from that point onwards. So I made as many contacts as I could in the second year of my degree. I put my work out in front of lots and lots of picture editors. Some of the feedback was fantastic, some of the feedback was not so good, but I made it really my main goal to actually put as many of my images in front of press photographers, picture editors as I possibly could and get as much feedback as possible. It also served a second purpose in that it really made picture editors and press photographers understand who I was and know my name. So when I graduated my university course, people in the industry already knew me and was aware of my work. Most of my work up to that point had come from non-league football, for which I had a license, and I was selling images to a publication called the Non-League Paper. So I started working for an agency called Well Offside, who was run, or still is run, by a gentleman called Mark Leach. So from there I went on and started photographing Premier League matches, FA Cup matches, finals, all of those type of events that you've seen so many times on the television, especially on Sky Sports. But all of those events, I was there. I started off at Wolves versus Newcastle United was my first ever Premier League match. And from that match, I had 2 photographs published nationally. And my career went on from there. I spent 12 years working for Mark Leach. I also worked for people like Getty Images and the Press Association. I worked for the Football Association as well. And so I had a very long career in sports. I also shot for the Jockey Club doing horse racing. But probably the thing with sports photography is capturing that moment. It's that moment of the goal, the celebration, the commiseration, and the reaction that actually happens for those players and those supporters at the time. So one of the things that I would advise for people that are looking to get into sports photography is actually to involve yourself in as many sports as you can. When I was starting off, I took images of as many sports as I could get access to. So I've mentioned non-league football, which I had a license for, but I also did horse racing, I also did tennis. There were lots and lots and lots of sports that I experimented with, I suppose, to find the sport that actually fits me best. I was a huge, and still am, I'm a huge football fan. And so football directly was probably the sport that I was most drawn to in terms of a particular area of sport. But if you are looking to get into sport photography, the thing that I would do is don't directly specialise straight away. Experiment with lots of different sports and find where your specialism lies, because you may be a huge snooker fan, but you actually find that you're much better at taking images of horse racing, or you might be a huge horse racing fan and find that you're much better at rugby photography. It's really about you exploring where you sit best in terms of your photography and what you find easiest to capture. Sport photography, in particular football, is regarded as one of the hardest photographic genres to master, because you are dealing with 22 players on a pitch with lots of people getting in the way. In the case of rugby, 30 players on the pitch with lots of people getting in the way. And these moments in matches happen instantaneously. And if you miss them, if you've missed the focus or you've missed the action, it's never going to be repeated. So it's a very, very hard genre of photography to master and to have a long career in. But I do believe that anyone can have a career in sports photography if they are driven and if they really want to achieve. And drive and determination accounts for so much. The technical side of it is difficult, it takes time, but rest assured you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive kit. There are ways around it. The Sigma do a 120 to 300 millimeter lens, which is very good for beginner sport photography. And cameras are at such a good level now, to be honest, that even a basic camera can actually achieve you really strong images in sports photography. The final thing I really want to say about sports photography, and for those of you that are interested in becoming sports photographers, is don't be afraid to put your images in front of other people. That is the most important thing. Getting feedback, critique from people in the industry and friends and family is really key to get your name forward, get your name out there, and actually for you to understand what you need to improve and how you need to change. I don't know, mate.